You ready to do this, Pat?
I am ready. Punch it, Chewy.
Welcome, super friends, to the Fortress of Nerditude podcast, a safe place to talk about all things in nerd and pop culture. I'm Spencer Stapleton, and my co-pilot tonight is Patrick Novosel.
Hello.
We're two nerds that just refuse to grow up. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 137. We release the podcast every Thursday morning. You can find the website, fortumnerd.com. There's links to iTunes, Google Music, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, basically everywhere podcasts are available. Stop by, relax a while. If you like what you're hearing, hit that subscribe button and get us automatically each and every week in your ear holes. Pat, welcome back to the podcast. Glad to have you here. How are you?
It's good to be back. Thanks for having me. I was checking my stats, and I think every 5 to 6 weeks I've been on the podcast.
Lately, it seems that way, right?
Yeah, so if I carry the 2, then come late August, I'll be back.
Hey, sounds good to me.
Yeah. So this past week, the 4th of July happened. Saw a ton of fireworks. I saw a couple movies. I saw Spider-Man.
Okay, we can't talk about that. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, there's a big, huge... You didn't hear about when Spider-Man dies?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope,
all right.
no.
I won't spoil
Dang.
it for you. So, yeah, I saw that one. I really liked it. I wouldn't say it is better than Homecoming, but I do think it was really good. I've been ranking all of my Marvel movies when they come out. I have not ranked Spider-Man right yet, but I would think it would fall between the 10 to 15 range, right? Kind of right in the middle kind of place.
Okay.
It didn't blow me out of the water, but it was it was the first movie that is after Endgame, like the fallout of Endgame. So it was really cool how they did all that. So I won't go into too much more detail. And then, I said I watched 2 movies when I really didn't. The other one was I binge watched Stranger Things.
We can't talk about that either.
No, come on.
Nope.
So Stranger Things, for me, is one of those shows that I binge. I remember when Stranger Things season 1 came out. I think it was 2015 when it came out. And my wife was out of town at the time. So it was at nighttime, and I wanted to turn on some Netflix, and I heard about this Stranger Things, and I was like, okay, I'll turn it on. And this was before like the Stranger Things was like a huge phenomenon. It was like the day it dropped. Netflix, when they put out their originals, you're like, okay, it's kind of hit or miss. You never know what's gonna stick. And then within 2 days, I finished season 1, and then season 2, I finished that one in 2 days, and then season 3. Finished that one in 2 days, and my goodness, I just absolutely love that show. They do it so well. They do it really well.
2016. Yeah, 2016, 2017, and 2019.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, it was a darker tone. You could tell that the budget was increased with all the production value of this. It was cool to see these kids, growing up. When you watch like adults, the 35, 40-year-olds, and you see them in movies for the next 10 years, they really haven't changed much. But these kids, over a course of like 4 years since they've been filming, or 3 or 4 years they've been filming, they are growing up. They're getting deeper voices. They're getting taller. They're getting bigger. So it's just really neat to see that. But yeah, it was good. It was good. There was 8 episodes, and I just couldn't put that show down. But when I did put it down, I was picking up a little game called Apex, which we will talk about a little bit later, but I just can't put that game down. Cannot put a game down. It is ruining my sleep patterns. The old one more game trope is in full force. You know, like it was one night. I think we recorded our podcast. We started at midnight, and I think we got done about 1:30. It was like the late show. It was just like because Lucas is in the States. You know, you never know what his schedule looks like, so we had to find time for him, and it ended up being midnight. So after we got done recording, I jumped right into Apex. I was like, okay, I'm going to play one game, and that one game turned into 3:30 a.m. And I'm like, what time is it? I got to get to bed. I got to get up in 3 hours. But yeah, I've been playing the heck out of that game.
I have a feeling we may have a repeat performance of that tonight.
Oh, I like that.
But we'll see. Well, you guys had a good 4th of July.
Yeah.
Claire and Clark had fun, all that.
Yeah. So we went over to my wife's brother's wife's parents' house. Does that make sense?
Well, not at all, but go ahead.
Extended family, in-laws, kind of thing. And they do this every year. There's like a bunch of guys, a bunch of families to get together. They put like $100 each into the pot. They get like $1,000 to $1,500 worth of fireworks. So they get like the really big ones. Yeah. And for like a half hour, 45 minutes, they're just popping off, you know, mortars and 1,000 bottle rockets at one time. You know, there's like, it's really, really cool. And it's one of the nights, like my kids go to bed around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Yeah, right, you know, now that it's summertime, it's around 9:30. But yeah, Saturday night, we didn't get home until past 11 o'clock. And as we're leaving, because they had swam for like 3 hours before the fireworks started, so they were just like all drained.
Toast. Yeah.
So when we got in the car, and it's like maybe a 15-minute drive home, and we leave the neighborhood and we're on, you know, a main street, and my son's like, "Hey, there's a McDonald's," and because he loves McDonald's. And so I was like, yeah, that's a McDonald's. And like right past the McDonald's is, you know, a stoplight, and it was red. So I stopped, and then all of a sudden I hear like a deep breath, and I look back and he's conked out already. It was like 2 minutes into the drive and he's already asleep. So we know that we wore those kids out. Yeah. So yeah, it was good. You know, like, I'm not really like a huge firework kind of guy. Like they have big fireworks downtown they do every year. It's like I've seen it, but there's nothing like it when you are that close to these fireworks. Just like it is an amazing thing to be only 100 feet away from these huge fireworks. Kids loved it. Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice.
How about you, man?
So the 4th of July for me is a big holiday. Like I love the 4th of July, and that was really installed for my father. It was my father's favorite holiday. And I said this in the last podcast. We kind of talked about 4th of July memories and such. But like going to a big fireworks show is a lot of fun. But going to a fireworks show that's maybe like a small, like a city or a county show that they have like live music being played while the fireworks are going on. Yeah. To me, that's just special because I grew up going to Hopkins Park, and they had this big band shell, and they would have this like orchestra, and they would play all the John Philip Sousa, all the patriotic marches and whatnot while the fireworks are going off. And so I really, really wanted to have that experience. My in-laws had flown in the night before, and my kids harangued us into going to teppanyaki, which is kind of like a Benihana, because they like watching the little onion volcano. And the fire and the flipping of the shrimp and all that. And so we took them out to dinner and had a good time the night before. And then on the 4th of July, I made a bunch of ribs because that's kind of in Breda's family, it's kind of a tradition. They usually have ribs on the 4th of July. So I smoked up a bunch of ribs, and they turned out great. They were fine. But the weather started getting a little weird. All of a sudden, it started getting dark and overcast. Then it rained and then thundered, and then it stopped. And then it rained again a little bit, and then it stopped. And then it thundered again. But I kept checking the city, and the city kept saying, "Yep, we're going to continue to hold on to do fireworks. We're going to wait. We're holding on to the last possible minute before we cancel anything." And at about 9 o'clock, like 8:30 at night, they said, "Fireworks are on. We've got a break in the weather. It stopped raining. No thunderstorms. We're doing this." So like we'd already kind of like thought it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, I came downstairs and said, "Okay, we're going over to the park." And they're like, "Really? It's kind of cold and rainy." And I was like, "Nope, we're going to be fine. We're going to go." I was like, "Boys, do you want to go?" They're like, "Yeah." Actually, Jackson's like, "You bet, baby." I was like, "Oh, okay." He's really enthusiastic.
You bet, baby.
That was so funny. "You bet, baby." And so we bundled everyone up at like 9 o'clock, drove over there, and we ended up waiting maybe about an hour. They started fireworks a little late. It was like 10:20-ish when they started them. And had just a good time watching the fireworks, except my youngest Jackson doesn't like big loud noises, so he actually hid under a blanket and just watched YouTube on my wife's phone. And my other son just sat in my lap and just leaned back and just watched the fireworks with me. It was one of those moments that like reminded me of like sitting on my dad's lap as a kid and watching fireworks on the lawn. And yeah, man, it was great. It was just wonderful. But like you, we didn't get out of the park till like 11-ish or so. We didn't get home till 11:15, and we put our kids to bed 8:30 as well. So like 11:15 is ridiculously late, and I was telling the boys, "You got to promise me you're not going to wake me up at 6 a.m. tomorrow."
They always do.
I was like, "You got to promise." And like they actually slept into like 7:15, which is like late for the kids.
Whoa.
And I was like, "Okay, great." And then Friday, I didn't have to work, but our neighbors was projecting Bug's Life up onto a big screen in their front yard, and they made popcorn. They invite all the neighborhood to come over. And so that was the next night. That doesn't start till about 9 o'clock, 9:15, when it gets dark. So we had 2 late nights back to back with the kids not getting into bed till sometime after 11. And weirdly enough, they're still sleeping into like at least 7, 10 after 7 every morning since then. So I don't know if like we've maybe broken them in a good way finally.
I don't know. It's summertime. They're probably getting worn out from the sun.
And that's probably true too, but I am taking advantage of the extra sleep and not being bothered by my boys at 6 a.m. or sometimes 5:45 a.m.
Yikes.
Ooh, that is rough when daddy stayed up till 1:30 in the morning playing Apex Legends. That just is not fun. It's like 4 hours. I only had 4 hours of sleep. How is this possible? I have not seen Spider-Man Far From Home because I had in-laws in town, and like we actually went out to the Melting Pot one night. Like I think that was Saturday night. We went out to the Melting Pot, just the adults, and got a babysitter. Which, let me tell you, as someone who is eating nutritiously and staying away from sugar, and I haven't had sugar now. Again, I've been real good lately. Haven't had sugar in a couple months.
Whoa!
And like try like everyone's like they're dipping all these like Rice Krispie treats and pound cake and all this fruit and cookies and like chocolate covered marshmallows and whatnot, like in all these like chocolate sauces. I had to do something I really didn't want to do, but I literally had to pull my phone out at the table, ignore everyone, and just like, I got on Discord and I just started reading through Discord and reading some posts and just like zone everyone and everything out except for what I was doing on my little screen in front of me, because it was one of those things where I wasn't really tempted to eat anything. I didn't really want it. But having to listen to people go, "Oh, you gotta try this one. This one's so good. Oh, no, have you tried this one? Have you tried this one with this? And then mixed it with that." I was just like, no.
So what were you eating then?
During the dessert portion, nothing. I just sat there and yeah, just
you should have some like ice water. Like, you should taste this ice water
with lemon.
This lemon is delicious.
But the rest of the dinner, like I had steak and chicken and shrimp and vegetables. So it was all good. It really was. But just that dinner portion was rough. So like we had something every night. So we didn't have a chance to go see Spider-Man. So I'm going to go see that tomorrow. And then we didn't start Stranger Things because we wanted to do it. We had one free night And I actually I've got a projector and a big screen, and I set it up in our backyard. But by the time we got back from the dinner and we thought we were going to get started, then we looked at it, and it was 11 o'clock at night, and my father-in-law was already asleep. And it was okay. So tonight I'm recording the podcast, and last night we didn't get around to, having some free time till late. So it's kind of one of those things where now we're trying to decide, do we start Stranger Things tomorrow evening, because we think we could do it tomorrow evening, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and be done with it. Because we only have these small windows before, I'm tired, and the kids have to be down because we can't watch this around the kids.
Oh, for sure. It's not for kids.
Yeah, not worth trying. So I'm planning on fully having it watched before the end of the weekend. That's my plan, Pat.
Okay. I mean, there's only 8 episodes, and I think they're around 50 minutes each, and then the last episode's an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 15.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting the last episode to be more than an hour, but yeah, I powered through that.
And I know we also have the Lion King remake, the live action coming up here shortly, and I know my wife's going to want to take the kids to that. And Lion King is one of my favorite Disney movies, so that'll be happening. So I gotta get cracking. But like you, Apex is kind of taking over all my free time right now.
Cutting into it, isn't it?
I mean, literally on Monday night, I was like, well, we could start Stranger Things, but we're only going to get to watch 1 or 2, and we're going to watch more. So maybe we hold off Stranger Things for 2 days, and I just play more Apex. And my wife's like, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, man, it's such a good game. It's because it's so simple. You get it, you can get in and get out, but it's always, you want to play more than one.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Well, let's get into some Rebel Intelligence. What do you say, Pat?
Let's take care of it.
I always have to let you know, many Bothans died to bring us this information.
Rest in peace, you Bothans.
All right, we are into Rebel Intelligence. The Bothans have been murdered, slaughtered for our pleasure, and for that sweet, sweet Rebel Intelligence. Pat, what do you have for me this week?
Okay, so I think the last time I was on, we talked a little bit about Aladdin, which is my favorite Disney animated movie.
Did you see the live action?
I did.
What did you think? Because I haven't seen it yet. My wife and kids went.
I really, really enjoyed it. The reason why, I don't know which one I like better. That's how awesome it was. The difference was, Jasmine had a huge story in this.
Okay. Where in the animated, she doesn't.
She really doesn't. So they gave her a lot of a backstory. And to me, I felt like it was more of a Jasmine movie than Aladdin. It was because they didn't go beat for beat with the original animated movie, they kind of changed it up a little bit and had more of a backstory. They added another song, which was super powerful for Jasmine's character. It was good. I really, really enjoyed it.
You're saying I should go see Disney's Jasmine when it comes out?
And yeah, that's funny because I call this movie Jasmine because of how much she is in it. I don't know the screen time comparison with Aladdin and Jasmine, but for me, I thought Jasmine was in the movie on the screen more than Aladdin was.
Interesting. How was Will Smith? Because I know so many people online were like, he's never going to be Robin Williams, which I don't think he's trying to be, and I don't think that's a fair comparison because obviously Robin Williams is going to be Robin Williams, and he's not around, so we have to have someone else. How did you think Will did, though?
Will Smith, at first, I was thrown off a little bit because of how many times I've watched the original Aladdin and how Robin Williams did so many character and so many voices in the movie, and his singing in the movie was just so top notch. When Will Smith started to sing the Arabian Nights in the beginning, I'm like, oh no. oh no, I'm not so sure about this. And as the movie progressed, he made his version of Genie his own. He did not. You can't compare. Well, first, you can't compare Robin Williams with another actor, or in this case, Will Smith as Genie. You can't really compare him. And you can't try to be Robin Williams. And Will Smith made his Genie character his own. And as the movie progressed, I really, really enjoyed Will Smith's rendition of Genie. His Genie, well, I think he wasn't really the big blue Genie for very much of the movie. It was more of him looking like a human. Normal character. And I really liked that. It was a really cool way to do it. So they did, it was so different, that it wasn't really the same movie. It was like the same kind of storyline, but they did it in such a different way. It was really good. So
I'll have to check that out.
So speaking of Disney animated movies, let's get to the story that I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Disney has a new live action Little Mermaid movie coming out, and they hired a actress to play Ariel, and it is Halle Bailey. And I don't know who this is. She was apparently been on TV. She had apparently had a song in another Disney movie. I think it was A Wrinkle in Time. And this it's big because Halle Bailey is African American, and for like the original Little Mermaid, it's a white redheaded girl. So I'm interested to see what this version is. And what's funny is because I listened to one of the songs from her song in A Wrinkle in Time, and she's got some pipes. And
she can sing.
Just looking at her, I'm like, she has some big Disney Little Mermaid eyes, and I'm like, okay, just looking at her, she looks like she's gonna be able to play the part. What is not in this article is the King Triton, who's gonna play her dad, and there's a guy by the name of Terry Crews.
I know Terry Crews. Yes.
that wants to be King Triton, and I'm like, yes.
Please make that happen.
Let's make it happen. But yeah, so that's I'm excited. Little Mermaid was one of my more I guess favorite Disney movies when I was growing up. I know you said Lion King was one of your favorites. Lion King's good to me, but I really like Little Mermaid. So I'm interested to see what they do with Halle Bailey and this new look of her.
See, it's interesting because I was scrolling through the internet and I saw news that that they'd cast the role, but all of a sudden it wasn't like normal news. It was like, white people are angry that a black girl is cast as Ariel in the Little Mermaid remake. And that was the headline I saw, and I went, wait a minute. And so I started looking, and I was just like, first of all, it doesn't matter. That should not matter.
It doesn't.
Because we're talking about a half girl, half fish. Do we really need to worry about the race of the half girl part of the half girl fish? That just seems silly to me. But I looked, and it's like, I think we're in such a culture now where people just want to find reasons to get upset.
Yeah.
And they're like, this casting doesn't, it isn't going to be true to the original. It's like,
that's what I want. I don't want it to be the same thing.
I want something that's different enough that it's unique and it stands on its own.
Right.
And you're not going to be making the comparison to the original, but yet is still the heart and soul of the original. And I think Disney is finding a good way. I remember watching the Jungle Book movie, and I went, that's not shot for shot the animated Jungle Book movie, but it is. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it, but it still felt like the Jungle Book to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I'm okay. I'm okay with casting. I think this is great. I want Terry Crews so badly to be King Triton. I think the idea of, shaking things up is not a bad idea. I will say, the first time I saw that Halle Bailey was cast, I thought it said Halle Berry, and I went, no, really? Isn't Halle Berry a little old to play that role? I mean, she's supposed to be like 14 to 16, maybe. I was like, Halle Berry is like in her 50s. I mean, she looks good for her age, but I mean, not 14 to 16 good. And then I realized, oh no, that's just my mistake. I can't read. So I felt like a big idiot, but that, whatever. So yeah, there was that. Okay, so I got some sad news. I always happen to be the one that has to talk about the deaths on the podcast. And tonight I'm going to talk about the death of Mad Magazine. Oh. So Mad Magazine had been around since, like the 1950s? 50s?
Yeah, I think 50s.
Since like the late 50s somewhere. And it's run consecutively every single month since the late 50s. And apparently just last June, a little over a year ago, 13 months ago, they kind of redid some shakeups there at the company that runs Mad, and they did some renumbering, and now they're saying that issue number 9, which is, just the new numbering, but basically this August will be the last time that Mad Magazine's going to be in print, available like kind of en masse to most places. And then going forward after that, Mad Magazine's going to continue to come out, but here's the catch. It's only going to be at certain very kind of select comic book stores. It's not going to, you can't just go and find it on any newsstand. And they're not going to be writing any new content for the magazine. They still will draw new covers, but they're basically going to be recycling articles and gags and jokes and everything that's in Mad Magazine from anywhere in its entire, 60-ish, 70-ish year run.
That's weird.
Yeah, they're basically saying that sales of Mad Magazine have just way fallen off, and so that they can recycle material and keep costs really low, not have to pay people to write new stuff, and so they can still try to continue to have some sort of a presence. I wasn't a huge Mad Magazine guy, primarily because my parents never wanted me to have it because they thought it was really kind of crass or rude or crude. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
But I know that I used to get them occasionally in my later teenage years and just kind of flip through them, and some of the stuff I kind of found was funny and whatnot, and I enjoyed. But yeah, it's pretty much dying. It's pretty much going away. It's not going to be what it was. I think they still will do their end of the year kind of wrap up where they will, have some slight new content, an article or two kind of, to highlight the year. But it's basically it. I don't know. Pat, were you ever a Mad Magazine guy?
To be honest, I don't think I had ever owned or read any Mad magazine. Now, I will tell you, your parents, my parents, I don't think they thought it was also crass and, too mature for me. So maybe that's why I never got it. But I tell you what, I did watch Mad TV. Now, that was the only Mad that I actually got out of.
Yep.
That was like the rival to Saturday Night Live. And I don't know how similar Mad TV is to the Mad Magazine, but that's it. That's all I have.
I'm trying to think, because I did watch some Mad TV, and I always found that certain people I thought were really, really funny on Mad TV, but then kind of as the whole of the show just didn't, catch me most of the time.
Yeah, there was recurring characters that I absolutely loved, like the UPS man that was very high energy. Have you ever remember seeing that guy?
I don't remember that.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to send you a link to a video of the UPS guy. He's just he's a guy that just delivers packages, and he's dancing around like he's scared something's gonna come up behind him. It is hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Send me a link. I'll take a look at it. All right. What else do you got?
Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about dementia. So recently, there was an article where Gwyneth Paltrow did not remember that she was in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah.
I kind of get it because she was only in one scene and it was the very end of the movie. But it doesn't stop there. So recently, she has been quoted to not remembering multiple Marvel characters and the actors.
This is so awesome.
So she apparently she has met the Winter Soldier, I believe it is,
Sebastian
Bucky?
Stan.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan. So she has met him multiple times. I'm not sure if they were in scenes together or anything, but Sebastian Stan had quoted that he had to reintroduce himself to Gwyneth Paltrow 3 times.
Oh man.
So it's just like, I don't understand. Like, I think at some point she didn't know who Tom Holland was either. I think she
took a picture with him and Robert Downey Jr. She's like, it's me and RDJ and some other guy.
Yes,
like really?
Gwyneth Paltrow, you are Pepper Potts, one of the biggest characters in this whole cinematic universe, and I think you should probably know who's in these movies. I think she just thinks it's like Iron Man and nothing else. There's nobody else other than Iron Man.
Yeah,
but it's so funny. Like, what else doesn't she know? Doesn't she remember?
If you think about it, like she was in what, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
But then I think everything else she's filmed, it's really kind of been like cameo stuff. Like, she filmed a little bit for Avengers Endgame, a little bit for Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, but don't they have like red carpet events where the entire cast goes to these movies? Did she go to those, or did she just like close her eyes and walk forward and not remember?
Who knows? I mean, it's funny because I was looking at this going, okay, now if you had been in a movie with someone, but yet you never shared a scene with them, you may never have been on set at the same time. So like I could kind of get that, but it's like she doesn't remember Tom Holland. She filmed scenes with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, come on now. The Sebastian Stan thing, I just find funny because there's like multiple pictures of him next to her or in proximity to her, and she's just no clue.
That's so funny.
I mean, I don't know how you defend that, but yeah.
So that's funny.
I don't know what's going on with our girl Gwyneth, but we'll have to see. See. So I want to talk about a video game real quick. Minecraft. I bought the game on Nintendo Switch for my boys because it has the Mario mashup. And my boys have played it a little bit, but they really kind of haven't figured it out. But I do think that there is this really kind of cool element that people can build these amazing things in the game of Minecraft.
Yeah.
Well, there's a YouTuber by the name of Smallish Beans who describes Smallish Beans.
Okay.
I don't want to go into whatever that means, but he describes himself as a terrible artist and painter. However, he wanted to recreate some art, and he decided to use his inspiration as Bob Ross. Bob Ross being, obviously the happy little trees guy that, would be on PBS and showing you, here's how you paint this, scenic, mountain vista with a little lake and some happy little trees and, the big afro, the white guy with the afro, right? You should know who Bob Ross is, at least passing zeitgeist reference. Yeah. So Smallish Beans spent a whole bunch of time, and I mean a whole bunch of time, inside of Minecraft, digitally recreating one of the images that Bob Ross painted, and he did it inside of Minecraft. And you can look at this comparison, kind of the side by side. There's this video that he's got up there. I'm looking at the thing, and like, while this is a game I'm not going to spend a lot of time in, I think though that the people that do some of this stuff is just ingenious. Like, it looks amazing for what it is, but yet I've seen people create scenes from the Lord of the Rings movies and like the Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah. Those are legit.
Right. It's a game I'm not going to invest my time in, but I do like to occasionally go down a little YouTube rabbit hole and see, some of this stuff, because some people put in some serious work to recreate stuff.
I know. Like, I'm looking at the photo right now, and I mean, it looks similar.
I mean, it's 8-bit graphics. Come on.
Minecraft graphics. Yeah. But I mean, some people put a ton of time recreating, like real life things or scenes from movies or entire castles and areas within Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. Like, that's just like people invest, hundreds of hours recreating that and just walking around in that world. It's cool that you can do that, but Minecraft that's not a game for me. I can get the allure of it. I get that kids absolutely love it. It's one of those. I don't know if it's a free game. I don't know. Is it?
No.
Okay.
You gotta pay for it.
Okay, then I won't ever pay for it. But yeah, I mean, like, it's, people love it, and they spend so much time in it. And I mean, just looking at the picture, to me, it looks nothing like it. But it looks good. I mean, they did a great job trying to recreate that.
Yeah, I get that it looks like, this is inspired by, it's meant to recreate to the best of the, 8-bit Minecraft ability.
Yeah. Do you know the age of this ugly painter? Or
I do not know the age of Smallish Beans.
It just sounds like to me, Smallish Beans playing Minecraft sounds like, a 9-year-old or something like that. And
yeah, that's what I would think too, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a guy in his mid-40s.
You don't know. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's out there, guys. Go look at it. It's worth taking a look.
Yeah. All right. So the next story I have is about a little known series called Star Wars. Not sure if you're very familiar with it, but
tiny.
Yeah. It stars Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and all those Chewie. I mean, like, it's one of the best series of all time, in my opinion. And so we're coming to the end of the Skywalker saga. Episode 9 is coming out, later this year, and Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey, and she recently have been quoted by USA Today that this episode 9 is going to feel like a totally different Star Wars. She just says, genre-wise, it's different from the other two, meaning episodes 7 and 8, which will become clear when the film comes out. It's quite emotional. There's a different drive than the previous two films, but there's a lot of fun. So I like reading into this, like, what does that mean? Does that mean is this going to be more of like a chick flick? Like, what does she mean by genre wise?
See, I think she used the wrong word there. I wonder if she meant a different tone, because genre, Star Wars inherently is sci-fi. That is the genre of the film.
Yeah.
How would you be able to change the genre from like, hey, by the way, all of a sudden we're actually not in space anymore. We're just going to focus on a planet, and all of our characters are going to be living in a loft together, and we're going to, detail the love affairs of their daily life, and now it's a rom-com. That's a different genre. Yeah. So I wonder if she means more like the tone of the film, that it's going to have a different feel than the other two. But it can't be a different genre. Like, Disney's not going to make that happen. That's a hard left turn to make a different genre.
Especially since it's like the last episode within this, the Luke Skywalker saga. Like, I don't know what if they're going to make it a different tone, are you thinking that it's going to be like, a more upbeat tone? Because a lot of the Star Wars, it's serious. You know, you got the Han Solo and Chewie kind of fun. But other than that, you know, there's not a lot of jokes. It's more serious tone. It's a mature, story. But yeah, does the tone, if it's going to be different, does that mean it's going to be upbeat?
I doubt it. I mean, we tried to have a little more upbeat in episode 1 with Jar Jar Binks. And
yeah, we don't want to go that far.
That didn't work. I think universally we can say that was a misstep, George. I just wonder. I wonder if this is Daisy Ridley just, you know, she said this in an interview, but I don't know like the context. So I don't know like what questions were asked to her necessarily, like what like previously what they've been talking about. So it's kind of hard for me to say, like, taking this one quote out of context of, like, you know, maybe the larger interview, like what she was talking about. I mean, maybe she's going to feel like this is kind of like the band getting back together type of feel, because now all their kind of the newer characters that have been introduced are going to be reunited in this whole film. And so they'll be working together as a team. Whereas the last movie kind of felt like, you know, they were all kind of going their separate ways, you know, and I don't know, but it has me a little worried, if I'm going to be honest. Just a little worried.
Yeah, I don't like the. I mean, she did say it's going to be emotional, and I believe it is going to be, because it's the end. You know, something's going to happen. You know, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen to where you're going to get emotional, like the previous, you know, couple, when there was people who were dying or leaving, or, you know, you have Leia, you know, like who's the actress that does
Carrie
Leia?
Fisher?
Yeah, Carrie Fisher. I mean, she passed away in between episode 8 and 9, which is she?
Yeah. She filmed 8.
She passed away before episode 8 was released, I believe. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's only, you know, a short
December
5 months. Yeah, we're almost there.
Well, my anticipation for this movie is already sky high, but this quote makes me a little more nervous than I want to be at this point.
Yeah.
So someone needs to come out and, like, you know, I don't know, say something a little more reassuring. But until then, let's move on. We're going to stay one more time in the kind of the Disney realm. This literally just happened like the other day. There is a new trailer for a live action Disney movie remake of Mulan.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Mulan's one of those ones that I don't really know that I watched when it first came out. I ended up watching it later, and I've got kids. And while Mulan has a really good story, I think the music in Mulan is really, really, really strong. And so I'm kind of, you know, on the fence about these live action remakes. But I watched the trailer, and it looks pretty good. I gotta admit, it does look pretty good. It has almost a kind of like the Last Samurai feel. I mean, yes, I know Last Samurai was, you know, not China, but it was Japan. But it kind of had that, almost that feel to it, kind of the militaristic, you know, all that kind of sword, katana stuff. I like it. I think it looks good. I also like the fact I didn't see a single white person cast in the movie. And I think that's Tom important. Cruise? No Tom Cruise, right? He is the last samurai. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Now, there was a time, and we were talking about this earlier, where it was between like the mid to late 90s to the early 2000s, where, you know, I'm like 15, 16, you know, I'm super into sports at this point in high school with friends and doing all that other stuff. And I didn't see Mulan. At this point, I had never seen, you know, Toy Story 2 or Toy Story 3, WALL-E, Ratatouille, all these other Disney and Pixar movies I had never seen. So I have never seen Mulan. The only thing that I know about Mulan is the "I'll Make a Man Out of You" song. That's the only thing I know about it. I don't know, like, is this one of those movies, Disney movies, where there's a lot of singing? Is this like one of those, like Little Mermaid and Aladdin, they have songs?
Yes. I'm trying to think. because I'm trying to go off my memory because I've only seen it maybe a handful of times. But I mean, there's probably at least 2 or 3 really big numbers in it. I mean, because it was kind of the tail end of kind of that, golden age of Disney movies in the late 80s and 90s that this kind of followed up on. But it's a cool story. I mean, it's a story of a young girl who wants to go off and, fight for her honor and for her country of China. But her role, she's been taught her whole life, is to grow up to be a wife and a mother. And she wants to, every family's supposed to send someone, to the emperor to go fight, to protect, China from basically like Genghis Khan type of invader or something like that. And she dresses up like a man and goes off and pretends to be someone else in order to, help fight, because that's what she wants to do. She doesn't want to just wait around to be, basically made someone's wife and, an arranged marriage. She doesn't want that. And so it's a really kind of a powerful story. And considering that this came out in the late 90s, I think right now is a really good time to remake a movie like this and to tell a story of a powerful woman who doesn't want to just accept, what she's told is her future, that she's going to make her own future. I think that's a wonderful story, and I think it's a wonderful time right now for that message. I like I said, I'm just happy that there's no white people cast in this. I know that sounds bad of me, but historically,
I think it's true. I think it needs it. There doesn't need to be, like it's in China. It is in
right. We don't need a whitewash this and have
China or whatever it is. There's no white people there. There shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah. So the casting looks really, really good. I mean, we were kind of running down the IMDb a little bit, and you pointed out that Jet Li is in this thing.
Yeah.
And we saw that Jason Scott Lee is in this. And then someone like Donnie Yen, I know he plays Commander Tung. I know he is huge, overseas in that market. And so like there's just like a lot of people, and we were actually looking because the actress, I'm gonna butcher this name, so I apologize to all the Chinese listeners, but Liu Yifei, she looked a little bit like at first I thought it was the woman that was in the Iron Fist.
Yeah, she kind of looked like her.
But after I watched a little bit, I'm like, I don't think so. And then I checked her out on IMDb, and I was like, nope, definitely not the same person. But she has been in a bunch of stuff over in China, so she's pretty well known, which is good, I think, because they're getting some big names, which also I think is important for this film, because we know that Disney movies are going to do well pretty much anywhere, but China is such a huge market right now for movies.
Yeah, it is.
I think this movie could set some serious records over in China.
I believe so. I think so too.
I don't know what it was, but I did see something that said that the teaser trailer that just released got something like 175 million views in the first 24 hours it was released.
Woo!
Yeah, 175 million views.
Is that a record?
It topped The Lion King, which had the 200. Topping the Disney's live action comps, saved The Lion King. So it passed everything else except for like The Lion King.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it makes it. I guess it's going to be the number 7 trailer launch of all time.
Wow!
And here's the other ones it's in kind of the realm of Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, Lion King, It, and Fate of the Furious.
Wait, hold on. What is Fate of the Furious number 1?
The Fate of the Furious, I think, is like the last of the Fast and the Furious movies.
No, I mean like, was that number 1 overall? Were you going down the list?
Avengers Endgame is number 1 overall.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. I love the Fast and the Furious movies. They're so like ridiculous and unrealistic, and that's why I watch them.
Yeah. Here's something else that's interesting. 52 million of those views came from China.
Wow.
That's big. I'm telling you, this movie's going to be big, but it's going to be big in China. Because, I mean, it's really like the truly like Chinese Disney movie.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I mean, like, I had never seen the original one, and after watching this teaser trailer, I'm like, this actually looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. That was the last thing I had. There was something else I kind of thought I wanted to talk about, but I don't know. Maybe I'll mention it in passing. You and I went to Disney World, and we ended up having a vacation.
Yeah.
We were there pretty much the same time. We got to spend a lot of time. Do you, just being completely honest, do you ever feel when you're like at a place like Disneyland or Disney World with your kids and the running around and this stuff, do you ever start to feel kind of that pressure, the stress of like, I'm trying to make this a memorable thing and I'm trying to like have a good time for my kids, and I sometimes feel like it can get a little stressful at times trying to arrange everything and be where you're supposed to be and this and that. Do you ever feel that?
So I mean, like, my wife, she is a stay-at-home mom, and I work, like 10, 11 hours a day, and that includes like travel time and such. So she takes care of a lot of stuff. So when we went to Disney, she had planned it all. She had the itinerary. I'm just like, okay, point me in the direction I need to be, she's the one with all the answers. I'm the one with the questions. So for me, no, I don't get too stressed about that. I'm more of a laid back kind of guy, go with the flow. And my kids are kind of the same way. And obviously, they're kids. They're going to want things like, why can't I have this cookie or put popcorn. But when we went to Disney, we got the whole, meal plan and all that stuff. So we didn't have to worry about snacks and food and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I mean, like the biggest stress was trying to keep the kids going, because we're in the park for 10, 11, 12 hours a day walking around, feet hurting. Kids don't want to do anything. They just want to sit down. It's like, okay, okay, you want to sit down? Let's sit down. I don't care.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm kind of getting at, is that like, I can understand the feeling, like for me, like sometimes the stress of like, hey, we got to get to the other side of the park because we have our dinner reservation, but the kids don't want to go. They don't want to do anything. They're just tired and worn out. And you're like, I get this, but come on. I can get how it can get stressful in the parks. I get that. However, I have never been so stressed out in a park or in a public place that I've decided I wanted to start throwing fists and fighting someone.
Uh-oh.
And I've also never felt the urge to fight my family.
Uh-oh.
There's a video that's going viral today. Apparently, the other day, there was a family that got kicked out of Disneyland, and the police took him in for questioning, and the family was really unresponsive and not giving the police anything because they didn't want to get arrested. Well, a video got released, like a 5-minute video got released, and I'm going to say this now to anyone that's listening. Watch it at your own risk. There's a lot of language that's used. It is not clean. Also, it is very violent. And one of the gentlemen in there, he starts like punching some women.
What?
That's in this. It is nuts.
In like Magic Kingdom, or
they're in Disneyland. They're in Toontown. They're like by like the Goofy like ride. Like there's all these kids around and there's families around, and people are kind of like screaming for security, and it took like security like 3.5 minutes to get there because of course like it's Toontown. Like there's no like big rides, like there's no like kind of hot points you would think security would need to be right there. But basically something happened and this family got into this argument, and then all of a sudden like these two guys started shoving each other and cussing each other. Next thing you know, they're throwing punches, and then like the women are like getting involved, and then like the man, like one of the men was throwing punches at some of the women, and then one woman was throwing punches at the other. This is supposed to be the
most magical place on earth. What was the reasoning? Did they?
I know there's no clue yet. All I know is at one point you see like the mom of the group, like an elderly lady, like she does not look like a spring chicken. She gets hit by one of the other women and gets knocked out. Like she's out cold.
What?
She crumples to the ground. And then you see this big guy he's like, you hit my mom, and then like he starts punching this woman.
Oh my
goodness! And then he starts dragging her by
What?
the hair across the concrete. And it was at that point that like a bunch of the other bystanders, like, you know, there's a couple, like one guy runs in there and he like put the guy in a chokehold and choked him out to get him off this woman. And, you know, when he finally came back to, he was like, who choked me out? You know, rah! You know, like it was all angry. And, you know, security got there and escorted him out. But right now, this video is going viral. The Anaheim PD is trying to use the video to locate the people because now they've got a lot of evidence, and so that they can make some arrests. It's just one of those things where, like, I saw this today and it really disturbed me.
Wow.
It really disturbed me because I've been to Disneyland multiple times. I've been to Disney World once. I've taken my family, and like, that's the last place I would ever like feel you would have to worry about like the safety of your children.
Yeah.
And experience that kind of stuff. I mean, you're going to get that stuff over at, you know, Six Flags Great America. Someone has one too many and, you know, something happens. Okay. But like Disneyland?
Right?
Ooh.
Oh, jeez. That's the
No.
last place I would think of losing my cool.
Yeah. So like I said, Super Friends, if you want to see it is out there, but be warned, there's language and it is violent, and it's violence of a man on woman. It's ugly, ugly, ugly.
Jeez.
So, yeah. Whew. Well, let's move on to something a little happier.
Okay, let's do it.
So last week, Pat, we on the podcast we talked about 4th of July memories, and then we asked the Super Friends, what is your favorite 4th of July or kind of summer movie? So I'm going to ask you, what's your like favorite 4th of July / summer movie?
So I know what was yours was
Sandlot.
Sandlot, that's right. And yeah, that's a good one. But for me, almost every 4th of July, I turn on Independence Day.
Yeah.
It's so good. I mean, like, I've seen that movie several times, and every single time when Bill Pullman gets up in that box and he gives that Independence Day speech, we're gonna live on, we're gonna survive, you know, like, it gives me chills every single time. It's such a good speech. It's one of those, like, you know, monologues in all of cinematic movies, all the history of movies, that is one of the best. And you know, like, there's so many things in that movie that, you know, I still say to this day, and everyone still says to this day, like, welcome to Earth. You know, that
Right.
meme that around the internet. Yeah, it's so good. Now, like, the Independence Day Resurgence, like the sequel that came out, not good. Don't ever watch that one. It's
Fair enough.
yeah. So yeah, I love anything that really deals with like space and aliens. I'm a big sci-fi kind of guy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not the like aliens only, but I love the like Earth like defending themselves against like an alien invasion. I like that story, and I'll watch any movie that has that kind of storyline in that. But Independence Day was just so good. All around. I mean, the actors, the actresses, the kid, Bill Pullman, you know, like, who else was in it?
Vivica A. Fox.
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff
Goldblum is so good, you know, like, when he's up there and they're about to, you know, put that missile right through the mothership, and he's like, goodbye, you know, they have their cigars out and everything. I love it.
That was a good one. I do love that one. Let me ask you a quick question. Did you ever see Ready Player One?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, have you read the book?
I did. So
Okay.
I read the book like the week before Ready Player One movie came out.
Gotcha.
And there's the book is different enough from the movie to where I enjoyed both.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed them separately.
The author of the book wrote the screenplay.
Yeah.
So that's why it still feels really good and true to the book, but not beat for beat the same.
I mean, as the whole, like, the book, it's not set in Columbus, Ohio. The whole, like, it's set in like Missouri or something like that. And then they end up going to Columbus, Ohio. So the movie starts out in Columbus, Ohio. I'm like, all right, this is already different.
Yep. Yep. The reason I bring it up is Ernest Cline wrote another book called Armada.
Yes. Yep.
Have you read that?
I did. So
Okay,
I did
never
read
mind
that
then.
one.
I was gonna say, I'm like, if you like kind of that space, defend Earth, aliens, I'm like, you should read the book Armada. Like, it's not bad. But.
Yeah, and and to be honest, I don't read books. It's the last thing that I'll ever do. But Ready Player One, the whole thing about just like living in a VR world sounds very interesting. So I read that one and I loved it so much that I felt like I needed to read Armada too. So yeah, Armada wasn't as good as Ready Player One, but
it's not, but it's still a fun story.
It is a fun story for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, let's go over to our email, which is fordofnerd@gmail.com. And we've got Peter Christensen. He writes in this week, says, Dear Nerds, you connected a couple of dots for me. I'd heard about the trailer outside Austin with the 6-hour wait line for brisket, and I had a visceral physical reaction when Jon Favreau cut the brisket in Chef, but I didn't realize it was the same cook. I'm getting to the point where I would take a trip to Austin just to eat barbecue. Peter, talk to me if you're going to do this, because I'm on board. He says, if you want a low-risk way of trying to sell your cooking, try posting delicious-looking pictures on Facebook Marketplace. It has incredible reach, targeted search, and is free to post. That'll give you a pretty good idea if there's a market. Pat, I'm serious, man. There's, I have days where I'm like, man, I'm gonna start selling ribs out of my backyard. I love that idea. Anyway, it says, as far as honesty with kids, I feel like you should only be a little more honest with them than they are you. Okay, fair enough. He says, in response to last week's question that I missed, if I was one of the toys from Toy Story, I would be Ham. His laid-back, sarcastic observations fit me well. I don't have an evil Dr. Porkchop side hiding inside me, though, which is a little sad, because I think everyone should have a little Dr. Evil Porkchop inside of them. He says, I was coming up a little blank with a movie to watch on the 4th of July, but we ended up watching Miracle. It's from the early 2000s, golden age of Disney sports movies, along with like Remember the Titans and Invincible. Everything about it is great, and I'm shocked every time at how fast the skating is, how hard the hits look. My family had a good talk about hockey, culture, the 70s, the Cold War, patriotism, underdogs, hard work, etc. Highly recommended. Our alternate choice was Independence Day. We'll probably watch it next weekend. Cheers, Peter Christensen. I love Miracle. I think that's a great movie.
I think it's is it underrated? Can I say that?
I don't know if it's underrated necessarily, but I mean maybe a little overlooked.
Yeah, overlooked. Because I had watched that and it was like one of those like feel good movies where you get chills. You're very interested in all the characters. Who was the coach? What was his?
Herb Brooks, played by Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was so good in that.
Oh, so good.
Makes me want to watch that one again.
I know. I could go watch that right now. Except I'm going to do something else
after Apex.
Yeah. So going over to Twitter, we have Rich Turpin at Turpin Rich. He says Independence Day.
Yeah.
Burn Excelsior at Dantes _Belmont says Saving Private Ryan. That's a good one too.
Ooh.
So Wizard Podcast at So Wizard Podcast says duh, and it's a little gif of Independence Day.
Nice. Yes. I like these guys.
Coach Hulk at Coach Hulk says Hidden Figures or Sandlot.
Hidden Figures?
Yeah, that's the NASA movie about the women who are integral to the NASA Apollo space program.
Oh, I do not know this one. Is this like
It came out in like 2017. It's definitely worth a watch. You should go see that. Yeah.
All right.
Put that down on your list. You know, the one that you got going.
Yeah.
Add that to it.
All right.
Gidget Von LaRue at Gidget Von LaRue says Born on the 4th of July and Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures again. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
What is Born on the 4th of July?
Born on the 4th of July is a Tom Cruise movie. He basically is a veteran who's like, when he's a high schooler, he's really kind of gung-ho, and he goes into the military, and he goes over to Vietnam. And then when he comes back from Vietnam, he realizes he gets treated pretty crappy by a lot of the people that don't agree with the war, and he becomes disillusioned about the Vietnam War and by the government, and so he becomes kind of a very outspoken critic of the war. Huh. Also, he comes back and I can't remember if he's lost his legs or his legs are injured, and so he has to be in a wheelchair when he comes back. Whereas
this is a Tom Cruise movie. Wow. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Born on the 4th of July. It's Tom Cruise. I want to say it was directed by Ridley Scott.
Oh my goodness.
I want to say.
What is this, like a 90s movie? 80s?
Yes. No, I want to say early 90s ish.
All right. Interesting. Two movies to add to the list.
Yep. Top 5 for fighting at Top 5 for fighting says Jaws. And I agree, man. Jaws is all set around that 4th of July weekend, and they won't let them close the island because they don't want to lose the revenue for the city, and a lot of people get eaten because of that. So realistically, the real monster in that movie is not the shark, it's the dang mayor that lets all those people die. Just for money. Greedy capitalist mayor. Anyway, I tease. Super friends, thank you so much for your answers. We always appreciate it every single week. And we'll continue to ask questions. We'll continue to read your answers week after week. Patrick, we got a lot of super friends out there. How can they help out the podcast? What can they do for us?
They can like, subscribe, retweet, rate on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, wherever they get their podcasts. Grab their friends, families' phones, hit subscribe, hit the 5-star rating, the honest and positive reviews. They can just like and subscribe. Oh, you can't like. Why am I saying like? I'm just maybe that's a YouTube thing.
Yeah, that's a YouTube thing, but you can like the podcast. That's okay.
Just like it.
Just say, hey, I like this podcast, and then tell your friends about it.
Yeah.
All right, Pat, so I want to talk about Apex Legends. Apex Legends is obviously a game that's been out a little bit. I've got a little bit of background info that I'm going to read here, and then we're going to talk about it, because Apex Legends, the second season has just started. We'll kind of talk about what that is and what is new. But Apex Legends is a free-to-play battle royale game developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by Electronic Arts. It was released for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One on February 4th, 2019 without any prior announcement or marketing. The gameplay of Apex fuses elements from a variety of video games, including Respawn's own Titanfall series, battle royale games, class-based shooters, and those with evolving narratives. Approximately 60 players are pitted against each other on an island in squads of 3, with one player controlling where their squad lands. The squads then must scavenge for weapons and other resources to fight other squads, during which the play area gradually constricts in size until one squad remains, thus ending the match. The game also features care packages and the ability to revive your teammates within a certain amount of time. Communication with team members can be done through voice chat or through a ping system, allowing teammates to mark supplies, locations, and enemies with ease. The game features 9 heroes to choose from, although 3 are locked by default, and features a microtransaction system for cosmetic items. Concept of the game came to fruition during the development of the new Titanfall game after EA's acquisition of Respawn in 2017. With the sudden success of Battle Royale genre, prompted developers to create one of their own, which incorporates elements from the series in addition to the concepts seen in games throughout the past decade. Following its release, developers announced plans for cross-platform play. Apex Legends received positive reviews from critics, praising its gameplay, progression system, and fusion of elements from a variety of genres. Some consider it a worthy competitor to the big Fortnite Battle Royale, a similar game that has a massive popularity that just, got real big the last year. Apex Legends surpassed over 25 million players by the end of its first week and 50 million within its first month. That is kind of in a nutshell what Apex Legends is. But I want to talk to you, Pat, because this is a game that you started playing pretty soon after it released, right?
Yeah, so when it dropped, I had played it that night, and I am a big Battle Royale fan. I love the mechanic. I love being having the ability to win a match. I mean, you don't have to be the best first-person shooter. player to be
the
last
last
man standing. I mean, there are times when you're in a match and you don't see or have to fight necessarily anybody unless you want to, or if someone kind of rolls up on you and they want to fight you. Some are the aggressors, but I'm a big battle royale fan. I played PUBG. I played H1Z1. I played the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout, and most recently Apex Legends. And I really enjoy that the battle royale mechanic. It's one of those things where the match can be a minute long. It can be 20 minutes long. It really depends on how well you do, and it's the same game over and over again. However, you're when you drop, you're going through in like a quote unquote plane, and you drop anywhere on the map, and you'll drop into different places almost every single time. And each time that you drop, there is different guns, different loot, different attachments for your guns and things like that. Shields. You never know what you're going to find. And that's what, for me, is very interesting to the whole battle royale genre.
What I like about it is that it literally is the Hunger Games, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. And, and if you read the books or you watch the movies, it's a constricting, arena. And they eventually start, dropping in here are these things that, people can gift you to give you help or health, or here's weapons or whatever. And you just kind of have to go for it. And I like that because that's what this game is. And like you said, it's a very simple idea, right? Be the last squad, be the last squad standing, and that's how you win the game. But there's a variety of different ways you can get there. If you're a player that likes to hang back, you can hang back and you can wait till the very, very end before you even fire a gun. You can be in the last two squads before you fire the first time.
For sure.
Or if you're a running gunner and you want to get, into the action and just, fight, and you want to be one of those fight first types, you can drop where other groups are dropping, and you can try to fight it out immediately and then push and fight again and then push and fight again. And so it really depends on what your play style is and the people you play with. And I'll tell you kind of a funny example. I've played with people that are really aggressive, and I don't want to be super aggressive because I think running in blind into some areas, it can get just feeling like a little bit of okay, it's just going to be luck, if I live or not.
Sure.
But then other people I've dropped with, they just want to hide the entire time. And at times I'm okay, we're in a good spot, it's kind of situational. But I kind of like to feel like a good mix of let's be tactical, let's be smart with our positioning, let's, gain a tactical advantage, maybe where we got the high ground or we've got a choke point and everyone's going to have to filter through here in order to move to the next area, and it's a good ambush spot. But then other times I'm okay, two other groups are fighting each other. They're the last two groups besides us. They're going to weaken each other. Let's push in now. So just as soon as one side is just wiping out the other, we can go in and, full strength and bam, hit them hard and mop up and we win.
Yeah, that's a very big, important strategy that a lot of players use.
Yeah, and it's good because there's different ways to approach this. But I played a couple nights ago where both people that I was with disconnected immediately.
Oh, no.
And I was a solo. And I was you got to be kidding me. But I ended up dropping all by myself. I got fully loaded up on everything. Full shields, full helmet. I had my weapons picked out. I had one good sniper rifle because I was okay, I'm going to have to hang back and I'm going to try to work on my sniping skills because I don't particularly like to run with a sniper all that often.
Yeah.
But I had a sniper and a light machine gun. And then I ended up getting the drop, and there's different tiers of loot, so you've got your standard kind of guns, and then you can kind of upgrade them. But then you also have the golden guns, which are the Kraber, which is a sniper rifle, and the Mastiff, which is a shotgun, and the L-Star, which is a light machine gun, I think.
Yeah.
And I got a Kraber, so I was like, ooh, great. I've got this fully kitted out, like high-powered sniper rifle. And I just sat back. I kept staying within the ring every time it would, move, but I would creep and get real kind of crafty because I knew it was just me. And then I wait for people to start fighting, and then I just pick and choose and fire off a couple shots, and I was dropping and killing people. And I ended up killing like 5 or 6 people that match with that Kraber alone.
Nice.
And then I got down to the bottom 2, and I had to move a considerable distance to get into the circle. And it was me versus a full squad of 3.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, here's the end. I'm not going to win. But the fact that I got to second place, and like that strategy got me to where I could get to. I was able to do the best I could with that. But this is essentially a squad-based game. You really need 2 other guys to be working with. The whole go it solo thing, like you can do in some other games, does not work in Apex Legends.
No, it does not.
It's
you
usually
need
bad
your team members to be close to you, because if someone has a Kraber or someone has very good sights and they got you, I mean, you can go down in an instant. And once you go down, like you have to wait for your teammates to either pick you up and revive you, or what's very different with this Battle Royale game is you can respawn after you've died, to where your teammates can pick up your death box or your banner, and take it to various spawn points throughout the map and bring you back in. Now, when you get brought back in, you don't have anything. All your gear is gone. You just come in like you just dropped from the plane from the beginning of the match. So it's kind of difficult to gear up at that point. But that was that was one of the big things that drew me in to this Battle Royale game over others, is because you have the ability to get back into the match even after you've died, as long as your teammates can respawn you. Which was the first of its kind. You weren't able to do that in any other Battle Royale game. So I think that alone has brought more people in with that respawn mechanic there.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but I really think it's probably the best change possible to the genre, because it does provide an extra element. I mean, because there is something to be said for like, hey, I just died, but my guys got me back up. I'm respawning, but now I've got to grab stuff fast. And on top of that, everyone in the vicinity knows that a player is being respawned, so they're going to start trying to push up because they can kill you again real fast, and they can kill your squad mates that are trying to protect you while you get out. I mean, it's a different element. It's a complication. It's another thing to worry about. I love it.
Yeah,
I think that's a great change. So let's step back though. We've got 9 legends that you can choose from. One of the smartest things I think this game does is that they have like roles. Like this person is more of an aggressor, of more of a we'll say a shooter type. This one's more of a healer type. This one's more of like a kind of like a trapper or a strategic person. This one plays defensively. But at the heart of it, they're all pretty much 90% the same. It all boils down to 2 things. You have a passive ability that you can use that allows you to do a little something different. And then you have an ultimate that you can use. Once the level builds up, you have some different ability. And those are really the 2 things that differentiate each of these legends, which I think is a great change versus some of the other, Battle Royale shooters, because you can have different play styles while still having the same base level of skill, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. You said there's 9 legends. I think there's a 10th legend just came out.
Yeah. That's what we'll get to. 9 legends.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
9 legends, and that's kind of the thing. Do you like to play defensive characters? Do you like to play the offensive characters? Do you like the healers? What's your preference?
When I first started, I mained Lifeline. I loved her ability to heal. So her passive ability, when you hit L1 or LB, depends on what platform you're on, she'll drop like a beacon that you can get close to, and it will heal you up. So I thought that was very interesting because I didn't really need to pick up health items as much as I would for other characters. So I really liked that. And I liked her ability, her ultimate. She would bring in a care package. There's two things that with the care package. One, you get 3 separate items from this care package, and that could be, a shield, a gun, some attachments, some health, some really like high level health that you really like. But as you pull that in, that comes from the sky and drops to where you are. So when you use that ultimate and people see that there is a care package coming in, they know that there's a squad there. They know that you're going to be near that. So there's like a risk in doing that. But I loved that the ability to like, there comes a point when you're running around the map and you come across an area that has already been looted. All the stuff is already gone. And having the ability to drop in another care package that has higher tier loot for you, really, cool. It really interested me. So I mained her, for the most part. And then more and more people started playing Lifeline, so I had to venture out. So I will play with pretty much anyone, except for Gibraltar. I really don't like his character. He's slow. His ultimate is just like a shield. His passive ability is a shield, but his ultimate brings in just like missiles, like a fire of missiles from the sky, which is really good. That's the only good thing I do like about him. He does have an extra shield. Like when you pull up and you aim down sights, he has an extra shield that I think is maybe 50 additional shield damage that you can absorb. But he's one of the bigger characters, so his hitbox is a lot higher. So people can hit you a lot easier if they don't have the best aim, they have a lot better chance of hitting you. So I kind of try to stick with like the thinner, I guess, kind of
right,
kind of legends. So it's harder to hit. But once I was done with Lifeline, I moved on to Pathfinder, and Pathfinder is like the robot where he can use a zip line and get to places way faster than any other legend. And his ultimate is like a zip line where he can just shoot a zip line, and it's like a stationary zip line from point A to point B to where your entire squad can come with you. So I've been using him, and I'll dabble in with other characters, but those are my two main characters I played for the most part since the game came out. What about you? What have you played?
I started with Bangalore, and she's an offensive character. I mean, it's, she has the ability to throw down basically smoke grenades, and you can give yourself cover to, hightail it out of somewhere or to blind your opponent. And then her ability, she also rains down, rockets, but her rockets are nowhere near as powerful, and they're kind of delayed. And so basically it's kind of like crowd control type of ability.
Yeah.
To move someone out of a location or keep someone pinned back. I played a game 2 days ago where I knew that there was a squad that was running after us, and we were running kind of through this little canyon because the circle was closing in. And so I had it all ready, and then I threw it right at our feet right as we kind of emerged from the edge of the canyon. And so just as they're coming up, all of a sudden, boom, 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 all the bombs start going off, and I see them try to back up to back out of the explosions, which meant they backed right back up into the storm, into the circle that collapsed on them.
Nice move.
And so it was one of those things where it put them in a real bad spot. By the time when they ran out of the bombs, they were so weakened. I mean, we just chopped through them like they were soft butter.
Nice.
And so I enjoyed her, and I played her a lot, but then eventually, like you said, someone else maybe picks her when I'm playing with other people, kind of at random. So I've got to go elsewhere. And I played some Lifeline, and Lifeline I think is a good starting position to play. I played some, I tried playing a little Gibraltar. I haven't really gone back to Gibraltar. Then I started unlocking some of the other characters, and I'm really enjoying Mirage right now.
Yeah.
His ability to throw out a decoy is so critical at times when you know that the other team knows where you're at. but yet you need to like break free or get a tactical advantage. And it's like you can toss out your decoy and like it's this little image and he goes running out and then they start shooting. But like as soon as I throw it out, I book it the other way, pop out the other door, they start shooting, and now I've got a chance to like get into a better tactical position and they've exposed themselves. It's really kind of a cool little ability.
Yeah,
and I've been using it a lot.
It's also like very important. If you're not sure if there is a squad in a certain area, you can just throw your decoy, and that the second Mirage just starts running. And if sometimes the opponents are going to shoot at this decoy, so if they start shooting, you're like, okay, I know someone's in there. Or if you use it, you can hear them running around, kind of thing. So it's great. It is a great passive ability. Now his ultimate is even better, to where you'll throw down like 8 Mirage characters
8 of them
in like a little like crowd, and then you become invisible for a short period of time.
Yeah.
It's great to get away in that sense, especially when you're coming up, like if you're solo and you're coming up on a squad or another player, use that and move around and kind of flank them. It's a good way to get, so Mirage is very interesting. As long as you use those abilities, he's great.
Yep.
Because there's times when I'm playing and I totally forget to use my ultimate or my ability. I'm so worried about aiming down sights and making sure I have a good accuracy rather than using my ultimate or my abilities.
Yep. So this game's it's a battle royale genre, Apex Legends. It's been out for a few months now. I mean, it came out in early February and now we're early July. But now we're starting into season 2. So season 1 lasted about, 3-ish months or so. Then there was a little break. Now we're getting into season 2, and that's seen some changes to the game. So one of the biggest ones is we now have these big kind of Leviathan dinosaur things that have kind of taken over the map, and they're kind of hanging out. The map has changed, which is a good change up, which is kind of to be expected, right? Because other battle royale games like Fortnite have done that, where they've had events that have happened and they change the map. So it's a way of refreshing. But now we also have things like gun balance changes and the ability to tweak the system. Overall, how do you feel that has gone?
I think it's great because the gun changes that they have made, because there's a few guns in the game that people pass on so many times because of their either low accuracy, low clip, doesn't do a lot of damage. So they've added what they call hop-ups that you can attach to those guns to make them more powerful, to where people will want to use those guns more often. And I think that is a great way to keep because there's guns that people are going to get no matter what, and changing the guns, like the optimization, either the gun clips, how much damage a bullet does to an individual or your opponent, how it does against shielded opponents or unshielded opponents. It adds another dynamic to it. So I think the changes that they have made are great. I mean, there was one of my favorite guns in the game is the Devotion. This Devotion is a light machine gun that uses energy ammo. And if you have a turbocharger on this gun, it is almost unstoppable. And they now have added the ability to add different ammo sizes to the gun. So I think originally it was like you had 44 ammo clip size before Season 2. And now when they added Season 2, the normal clip size is in the 30s, and then you can add the attachment to it to give you a bigger ammo size. So it adds a little bit more to it because, like I said, the Devotion is unstoppable, but you now have a less clip size if you don't have that clip
and
attachment.
Reloading mid-firefight is always stressful because that's when you're going to get pushed on and probably, have your face melted and die.
Yeah.
Just tends
And the
to be the way.
devotion's so quick with that turbocharger. I mean, like, you'll go through a clip in a matter of seconds, but if you're hitting that person, they're going down immediately.
Right. Yep. I felt like all the weapons changes felt really good. I felt like some of the weapons that were underpowered have a little more viability now, except for maybe the P2020.
I never pick up the P2020.
I know. It's like, I don't have a gun. There's a P2020. I'd rather still not have a gun. Yeah, because it's the same thing in essence. But I felt like, for the most part, a lot of things. I love running the Prowler with the select fire and changing it to full auto. I love running the Alternator now with its
Disruptor rounds.
The Disruptor rounds, yeah. Like, oh man, like that thing is good stuff. So they made a lot of good changes there. One of the things, though, I want to talk to you about, because I think you and I are on the same page, is Season Pass. So the idea of a Season Pass is you have to pay some real world currency, some real money to buy this Battle Pass. And what the Battle Pass does is it allows you to, you have daily goals, daily challenges, and weekly challenges. And if you achieve these, you level up the Battle Pass level. But as you level that up, you unlock more skins, more customization for your characters and weapons, and there's some music. And you can also earn the in-game currency, so eventually if you get your Battle Pass level high enough, you can actually use that to purchase the next Battle Pass. Are you a big fan of the Battle Pass?
So I have never bought a Battle Pass before. I know there was like Battle Passes, quote-unquote Battle Passes for other Battle Royale games. I think Fortnite had that.
Yeah, they do.
So I was hesitant to buy the Battle Pass for Season 1, but I played the mess out of this game. This game is free. You don't have to buy the Battle Pass. You really don't. But I felt like I loved this game so much that I felt like $10 to play this game is well worth the money. Yeah. And with the Battle Pass, you earn additional rewards if you don't have it. You can still earn some rewards if you don't have the Battle Pass. It's not necessary to have the Battle Pass by any means. It's just the Battle Pass gives you, just like you said, additional skins, music, photos, different skins for your guns. So I dropped $10. I was like, $10 is a drop in the bucket for how much I play this game.
Yeah, I did that too, because I figured, well, I'm kind of playing this. Let's see. Here's what I really like about it, though. If you're just playing the game and you don't have the Battle Pass, your incentive to play the game is to try to always win, to be the last squad standing, which is still the way I try to play the game. However, now there's these little challenges that says like, oh, hey, today's challenge for me is I have to do 750 damage with Bangalore. Also, I have to drop in on this location, and you need to do 300 damage with shotguns. So I was like, okay, let's do this. So I get on with a group. I'm Bangalore. We drop in. We drop to the spot I need to drop to. Perfect. Check. There's one done for the day. I pick up an EVA 8 shotgun. Okay, that's fine. And then I pick up R99, kind of like submachine gun, right? Or light machine gun.
I think it's submachine gun, yeah. Yeah,
submachine gun. And I was like, okay, great, but I'm going to stick with the EVA 8 shotgun, and I do not like playing shotguns.
Yeah,
I just feel
be close for those.
You have to be real close for those. And I was like, okay, fine. We get a person disconnect from us, so it's me and this other guy. I was like, oh, great. I'm like, okay, I want to win, yes, but I just want to get 300 damage with the shotgun. That's all I want to do. We end up winning the game.
Yes.
Just the two of us. I end up taking down, I got 4 kills with the shotgun alone. We would kind of wait, and then someone would pop around the corner and try to get us, and I just, aim down sight, and boom, 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 just dump 4 shots into him real fast, couple headshots, one guy's down. His buddy comes to start rezzing him. I run up on him with the shotgun from behind, boom, he's down. Get to the end of the game, we pushed in. There was 2 squads fighting. We pushed in hard. We wiped one squad, wiped 2 guys of the other, and we knew where the last guy was. and he knew we had him surrounded, and he did not want to move. And then the circle starts moving, and we hightail it up there. And at that point, I knew I had my damage with the shotgun, so I switched out to a sniper rifle, and we just start shooting at the guy from way far out. And we'd see him peek out, and we could tell he's getting really nervous because the circle's closing in on him fast. And we just kept firing, so he couldn't move, and then the circle closed in on him and wiped him out, and me and this other guy won the game. But
nice.
In one game, though, I hit 2 of my 3 and almost completed my 3rd weekly challenge. And so all that being said is like, I love that there's like these other little things to do, like drop here, get this many knockdowns in this location, get this many kills, do this much damage, do this kind of damage with this type of a weapon, or, this many headshots with this type of a weapon. And it provides another layer to the game, like some complexity that says like, hey, while you're trying to win, also try to do these things. And if you do these things, you help unlock skins or emotes or music or whatever. And I really love that.
Yeah. Now, like one of the things, like I played a ton of Apex when it first came out, and then a little of Season 1. And it started to get a little stale for me, doing the same thing over and over again for months. Yeah. And I kind of fell off of it a little bit. But then Season 2 dropped, and they add this little meta game into the game, and where they're adding these different challenges, daily challenges and weekly challenges. The weekly challenges may take you a little bit longer, depending on what the challenges are. The daily challenges are a little bit easier. It's like, play one game with this character,
right?
Or get 1 kill with this character, or get 5 headshots with this type of gun. And it makes you play different legends. Yep. It makes you use different guns. And because my challenges are different than your challenges.
Right.
So it fosters additional communication between the squad, saying like, hey, I need to drop in swamps. Okay, cool. Let's drop swamps. If you find, I need to get 5 headshots with a handgun. If you find an RE45, let me know. I'm using that. So like, because we have different challenges, like we're not always going to be trying to get the same guns every single time.
Right.
We're not going to be the same legends every single time. So it makes you dabble in with other legends that you wouldn't normally play as. It was like like I said earlier, like you're dropping different places every single time. However, if you have one of your challenges says, hey, drop here, it's like, okay, cool, let's all drop there, and then next round we'll do something that helps me out in my challenges. So it's that additional like challenge, so to speak, different in meta within the game, adds that new feel to the game, some freshness to the game. That
I think
makes
it adds
me
longevity.
Keep wanting to come back. What's that?
I think it adds longevity.
It does, yeah. Like,
I really do.
They this. I don't know what Fortnite has done. Like that's one of the battle royale games that I've never gotten into. It's never drawn me. I played 3 or 4 matches with Mark Boucher, and that was like when PUBG was huge. So we were like, okay, this isn't PUBG. Let's go back to PUBG. But man, this Apex Legends is good. It's really good. The slide mechanic, which is unlike any other, like I said, like the respawn was big, and the slide mechanic is huge. It's so much fun. When I play another game, another first-person shooter that doesn't have a slide, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It totally doesn't feel right.
One of the things I really love about this game, and one of the reasons why I kind of want to talk about it, is that I think that a game like this that's free, that's available on PC, available on the Xbox and the PlayStation platforms, I think a game like this is always worth looking at and giving a try, because it's free, so you don't lose anything. Right. You don't lose anything.
It's not like a realistic Call of Duty or there's no blood in this game. It's all like cartoony. I mean, it has like the Overwatch kind of feel to it, but not that cartoony, not that out there. It has a more realism cartoony, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
So it has a appeal to that for like all ages.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth trying out and seeing if it's something that's up your alley. But I would highly recommend, like, if you do enjoy it, like, the Battle Pass for $10 is so worth it because, like you said, it causes you to dabble and play other characters. I started playing some Octane, and I didn't think I would want to play Octane, and I've really enjoyed playing Octane. I haven't spent a lot of time playing Wraith or Gibraltar, and I've wanted to play Wattson. I've wanted to get back to Wattson more because she's the new legend that was debuted with Season 2. But I just haven't had any challenges that have required her. So it's like, okay, I'm like, I got to spend so much time playing as Caustic because I got to get this much Nox damage. But one last thing I want to talk about on the challenges I think is important to talk about is that Apex is doing something different. Respawn's doing something different, where in other Battle Royales, if you don't complete the week's challenges, when you go into like week 2, you can't do week 1 challenges anymore. In Apex, those are still available. Those are still open. So if like you're in week 9 and you finally get your last headshot you need with an R301 from like week 1, it'll count and then you get experience in week 9 for completing that task, that challenge.
And I think amazing.
That's so dang cool because eventually, if you play long enough and you play enough games, you're going to hit a lot of these things just naturally throughout the course of your play sessions.
Yeah, right. And like, say I go on vacation for a week and I don't have a chance to get in there and do the weekly challenges. They will be there for me when I get back. It's also nice, like say there is a weekly challenge for Gibraltar. And this is true for me. Like, I need to get 1 kill with Gibraltar's ultimate. Now, I don't like playing Gibraltar, so knowing the fact that I don't need to get this week, I can wait for more Gibraltar challenges to actually drop and come out as the weeks to come, that I can use him later, that I may be able just to get like multiple challenges done while playing him naturally. Like say like I have to kill 1 with an ultimate, or maybe with Gibraltar play 5 matches as Gibraltar. That's one of the real challenges. Play 5 matches as a certain legend. Okay, for 5 matches, I will try to play Gibraltar and I will try to kill him with my ultimate. And if that works, then I can get 2 challenges. You know what I mean? So it's really cool that it carries over week to week.
Yeah, I really do like that aspect of it. Let me ask you one last question, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Battle Royales, I think, are going to be sticking around for a while. What do you think, though, is the thing that's going to set Apex apart going long down the road here? What's going to keep it different than the Fortnites and the PUBGs and the H1Z1s?
I think they've made a pretty solid step in the right direction with these challenges. In Season 1, it was very, very difficult to level up in the Battle Pass levels. And some of the unlockables that you would get as you would level up weren't very, important or good. They weren't like, hey, I'm finally level 100. What am I going to get? I'm going to get a skin for a gun that I never use kind of thing. It's like, and they took a lot of that feedback. They take a lot of feedback from the community with this game, and they incorporated a lot of the changes from the community from Season 1 to Season 2. So listening to the community about the changes that we want, that the community wants, is only going to make this game continue to be relevant. Additionally, what Apex has is a game by itself. It doesn't have like a storyline and then the battle royale is a tack on. This is the game. Like in Call of Duty, you have a Blackout battle royale add-on. Red Dead Redemption 2, you have a battle royale add-on. You have all these other games that are just adding on a battle royale mode. But for Apex, they only have to worry about this game. They don't have to worry about upgrading stuff for an online component or a single player component or DLC storylines. They don't have to worry about that. The team is specifically working on this game alone. And I think that's big.
Yeah, I agree. I also think something else that's going to set this game apart compared to let's compare it to Fortnite, because Fortnite's kind of the big one, is that it's a first-person shooter, which is different than the Fortnite, which is kind of that third-person, shooter aspect, which I don't find the controls and the shooting in Fortnite to be good. I find it really, really hard to be accurate. And I think having a battle royale game, you gotta have tight controls. It's gotta feel just really easy to use, very natural, very instinctive. And I feel like that's what Apex has going for it. I feel it out of all the battle royales I've tried, it's got the best controls, the best shooting features, the mechanics, the engine that they're using has this just amazing feel to it. Like you said, this sliding technique, that just feels like if you're running to home base and you're going to slide feet first, that's what that feels like. And that is something that's different. You don't get in other games. It just does not have that feel. It's more like you just run around and you kind of hop a little bit. This is no, you're jumping and scrambling and climbing and everything just feels good. And I think that's what's going to help set it apart, along with the challenges and things like you mentioned.
Yeah, I think one we kind of touched on a little bit. We've talked about how Apex has kind of revolutionized, in a way, the battle royale genre with the respawn mechanic, the sliding mechanic, and the system where you can pinpoint certain items in the game. I mean, you can point at something, whether it be an item or a location, and that ping system wasn't done in any other game. You have the ability to play a lot of these other battle royale games. You got to be able to talk to your team. You got to have a headset. And with this game, you don't have to have a headset. You don't have to talk to your squad. You can just ping stuff. And if you don't want to talk to, if you're playing with randos and you don't want to talk to them, you don't have to. And that was one of the things that, when Apex came out, was new. It had never been done before. And that's another thing, they have a whole team working on this game. And if they continue to come up with new ways to play the battle royale genre, these games, that's going to set it apart from other big ones like Fortnite. Fortnite has stolen the respawn mechanic. They have stolen the ping system. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing to have competition in the battle royale genre, because that's just going to make the games better.
Yep. I agree. So, Pat, that's going to be my question of the week, is actually kind of about the ping system. Do you prefer talking on a mic, or do you prefer using the ping system in Apex?
Okay, so if I'm playing with friends, I am obviously going to be on a headset. However, because of the toxicity of most people, I will have my headset on, but I'll be on mute. And I will wait until I hear the people on the other side talk before I jump in. There was a game that I played tonight, and I was the jump master, and I had picked a place. And it was a little far, but we got there, and the guy had given me a little bit of recognition, oh, I didn't think we were ever going to get here. That was pretty far. How'd you do that, kind of thing? And I was pinging stuff for him, and he kept saying, "Oh, dude, you're awesome. Thanks." He was like, "Let me know if you find something like this." And I had pinged it, and he had never picked it up. And later, maybe a few minutes later, he's like, "Oh man, where is that sniper scope?" And I had pinged the building that was in. I ran in and I pinged the sniper scope. He's like, "How in the world did you remember that? Most people I play with don't remember that stuff." And then a few minutes later, a care package dropped, and I pinged the care package. I go and grab it, and it had a legendary shield, and I had dropped the purple shield that I had. And so I pinged my purple shield because one of my teammates had a blue shield, which is level 2, and the purple shield is level 3. So I pinged it. He's like, "Oh, I need to get that." So another minute goes by and he runs over there and he can't find the care package because the blue light from the care package is no longer shot to the sky. And so he's like, hey, where's the care package? So I pulled up my map and I pinged the location of where it was. He's like, dude, how did you remember that? And at that point, we were playing for maybe 7 minutes. I think maybe the second circle was coming in. At that point, I turned on my mic and I started talking to him. It was like those kind of people who are like positive, I'll play with and turn on the mic. But most people are like, they're cussing, they have, like I don't want to have to deal with that kind of stuff. So I'm on mute.
Tell me the first thing you said is, hey, if I ping something and you want it, hover over it and then you can right click ping on it. And it says like dibs or like I could use that. And then it stays on his screen so he can find that.
Yeah,
right?
But we were all pinging stuff.
Gotcha.
And we were like trying to loot as fast as we could.
The old loot and scoot.
But yeah, but saying dibs, that'll keep it on there for a certain period of time.
Right.
Which is cool. Which is really cool.
It's a
like
cool
if someone says
feature.
Dibs and you grab it before that person grabs it, oh man, you're in some water right there.
Yeah, that's like, hey.
Yeah, I said dibs.
I called dibs. You have to honor the dibs, man.
Yeah, honor the dibs. Unwritten code.
Always honor the dibs. It's bro code 101.
What about you?
So for me, I'm a lot like you. I like to use my microphone with my friends, but I'm the same way. I keep my microphone muted until I hear, if I'm playing with random players, I keep my microphone muted and I'll just use the ping system because the ping system is so good. You don't need to talk. You can ping enemy locations. You can ping, let's go in this direction. Look, I found an open bin over here. Looks like people have been here.
Yeah.
So there's like all these different ways you can like use strategy with the ping system, but I will wait and I was playing with some guys and they started talking and they were pretty cool. So I unmuted myself and I started talking with them. But then sometimes I get on and it's like, 12-year-old, 13-year-old little boys who want to try to be cool on the internet and impress me with, language that they think I've never heard before. And
yeah.
And it's like, or they want to talk. I had a kid who just would not stop talking. He's like, man, why'd they do this? And why is the L-Star doing this? Man, we need to get L-Stars. L-Stars are the best. We have to get L-Stars. L-Star this, L-Star. And he would not stop talking about the L-Star. And both me and the other guy were being real quiet. Like we hadn't said a word. He's like, come on, guys, let's go over here. I think there's an L-Star. And basically, like both the other guy and I both popped down. We're like, hey, I know you're excited, but you need to calm down. We just we almost just lost right here and there because we did not hear the other team approaching us because you were talking so loudly. Like, calm down, minimize communication. And he got a little bit better. He did take the criticism. He's like, oh, sorry. He's like, I think it's important. I was like, yeah, I know. But I can take down someone with an L-Star with another weapon.
Yeah.
And like a tactical advantage, having superior positioning is just as crucial versus like there's no one weapon that's God mode that like defeats everything else and it can't be beaten. No, that's not the case. So like in that case, we did turn on the microphones and talk. So I prefer microphone with friends and people I know. And then I prefer a ping system for those that I don't, unless I play with some good people, and then I'll open up and start talking. So
yeah, agreed.
So that's where I'm at. So Super Friends, that is the question to you. If you play Apex Legends, do you like to use voice chat or do you like to use the ping system? Let us know at all the places: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the voicemail, our email. Text me. I don't care. If you got my number, do it. Let us know, and we will read those answers next week. Pat, thanks once again for coming on the podcast. I know you're a huge Apex fan, and I definitely want to talk about this because Season 2 released. It's hot. I'm playing it. I know you're playing it. 2 questions for you. 1, where can all of the Super Friends find you on the Good Morning Guys podcast and out on social media? And 2, are we going to get off this podcast and jump right into a little bit of Apex before we go to bed?
Okay, so 1, you can find me on Twitter at NovaBeyond. And then like you had said, I am on the Good Morning Guys podcast. You can find us on Twitter at the GMG podcast. We are also on Facebook. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, YouTube, I think iTunes or something like that. Right. You can find us on iHeartRadio, anywhere podcast services are. You can find us. Good morning, guys. And 2, yes, we're playing Apex.
Yeah, let's go get it. Well, from all of us here at the Fortress of Nerditude to all of you out there, wherever you may be, may the Force be with you always.